Last Sunday I went to a garage sale. I bought a lot of useful stuff for my lab. I want to show you all that stuff. The thing is, that stuff comes with a sad story. But let me show you first what I got. So that is all the great stuff I got. I got a saw for plywood to cut precise contours. I got a device for cutting threads that allows you to cut the thread straight without getting in at an angle which would be very bad for cutting threads. I have a little hydraulic jack. A nice sturdy circular saw, very good to cut wood. Quite a lot of small things like a holder for drill bits and calipers and pliers, all kinds of stuff in here. Some plexiglass. Some more plexiglass, a sharpener for drill bits here, and a sturdy vise to clamp stuff while you're drilling it. And last but not least, many boxes with lots of little drawers with electronic components in it. Now, the story of all that stuff. It all belonged to Conradin, also called Con, who I met at my first startup. I founded the Linux Café in Basel, where I founded an internet cafe based on Linux technology. Financially, it was a total failure. I lost quite a lot of money on that, but it was worth it because I met three great people. One of them was Con. I remember he came in because he also loved Linux back then, and he bought some LED lights, some tiny LEDs from then. Back then, 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, it was not so easy to find LEDs at a decent price. Second is Samuel, who helped me build EveryCook. And last but not least, my wife, who's still stuck with me, even if sometimes I can be probably quite uncomfortable to live. But back to Con, who passed away nearly 3 years ago now. And this box here with the electronic components. The first project we did together was from a parallel port of a computer. Yeah, back then computers still had parallel ports. We controlled some relays to turn on and off all the PCs in my internet cafe in order to save energy during the night and not have to turn them on and off manually. And from there, Conradin told me enough about electronics to get started, to get hooked, about building electronics myself, about not being scared about, oh, I don't know what this chip is doing. He was just like, hey, this chip has a data sheet. If you take the time to read that data sheet, you will understand what it does. And then you just try. And even if you fry it, a chip is a few bucks, so what's the matter if you fry it? And that keep trying stuff. That's probably one of the most amazing qualities of Con. He just tried and tried this and tried that. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But he was tenacious enough to stick with it and get it to run. He built the craziest stuff. He was kind of crazy, even if he was very reasonable guy in the meantime. He was a firefighter, but he was playing with fire. And so when he was playing with fire, he did it in a safe way. He built a dragon that's spitting fire. I have a picture of it. And unfortunately, he passed away from cancer. He was fighting that cancer 7 years, even if the doctors had told him half a year max. He didn't trust the doctors. He found his own therapy. He dug into the genetics of his cancer, really understanding it. I mean, he was a trained mechanical engineer. He was experienced in mechanics, electronics. He wrote some software. But then he dug into biology to understand the biology of that beast that was eating him alive. And he understood it well enough to get a few more years to live, and hopefully some useful inputs to everyone who's fighting cancer. I think most important lesson is that unfortunately many doctors just try to apply a standard procedure they have learned in school, and with cancer it doesn't really work, because cancer, I mean, you call it cancer, it's just one general name for so many different diseases, so many different kinds of tumors. In the end, he realized that his cancer, even if it was sitting in his colon, had the same genetics than a skin cancer, and so he wanted to treat it like a skin cancer, and he was fighting the doctors who, of course, didn't agree with him, and the insurances who, of course, didn't want to pay him, and yeah, in the end, he lost that fight. But at least he has shown everyone around what fighting really is. And yeah, now I have all this stuff. I will keep it in good memory. I will try to use it decently, not break it. I know it would be much more useful in his hands. I mean, I can hold a screwdriver, but compared to Con, I'm still an amateur. I'm a theoretician. He came more from the practical side, having done a real mechanic apprenticeship as first. Yeah. Thank you, Con. We'll miss you. Many people will miss you. You have helped so many people. Everyone who came to you with a problem, you helped it solve it. In the whole town you were living, you were known. If someone has a technical issue, go to Con, he'll fix it. And he usually will fix it for little money. Just find a hack to do it. I looked through some old photos, so many good memories. We went to the CCC Congress together. I have some great pictures from there. With Eric, with that cooking device I was built, we showed it to the hackers of Europe. The first year we went, he came with us, and we had a great time. The second year we wanted to go, 1 year later. He said, no, I can't come. I have some issues with my bowels. Not a good thing to travel like this. And yeah, a few months later, he had the diagnosis. It was not just some little thing. It was some malicious tumor eating him. And so, that one travel we did together will stay in my mind. Remember, I had my old car back then, a Honda Civic with the VTEC engine. I pushed it on the German Autobahn, I pushed it to 8,500 RPM. I was like, yeah, look, that great engine. He was like, that's just too noisy. Don't do that. And I went to his place, to his lab, which, yeah, now is dismantled. I mean, he had a lab. It was an inspiration for me to build my lab. But, I mean, it's 10 times crazier than what I have here. more equipment, more skills. I mean, he was welding, plasma cutting. He even built a plasma chamber to do sputtering himself. He had that glowing plasma. He had some glowing plasma in a glass because he had a high vacuum in it. Luckily, I have all these images saved in the cloud so I can look through it. They won't get lost. And even if the pictures get lost, even if the cloud breaks down and the internet goes crazy, the memories will always stay. And we miss you. Yeah. The end of the video, the lights went out as if it was a symbolic. But even if the light is off, the stars are still shining. Thank you, Con. Rest in peace.